Yashodanandana Rajadanandana Yashodanandana Rajadanandana Yamunatira Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Rama 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 Hare Jaya Rama Down Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srimad Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Tagore Premanande All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Prabhupada. Some to me. Om Agyanatandasya Vinanjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadaramayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagaditam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gauragi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishamanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhuvye Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Madhika Bandho Matsangin, Madguru Madmadana, Manisaraka Madbhagya, Madhananda Namostute. Asaru Saru Tadayan, Adinicho Tadakara. Hanamuja Kadachinmam Premnari Kakayos Buraha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9. Continue with our Chapter 9 study. I'd like to welcome Sean joining us occasionally.
How do you do?
We're all addicted to Maya. Where do we leave off, Jamuna?
See what my notes said.
We didn't actually go very much. Whoa. Past that. Time is the cause versus great personalities. Krishna's inconceivable plan. Yeah, I actually think we're on 18. Yeah, we're on 18. We finished 17, you left on 16. So we're speaking of the first part. Why are you turning that off?
I'm turning it on. I'm not on a different speed.
Okay, we need that. It's hot in here. Sheesh. It's going to be a hot summer. So we were speaking now about Bhishma Dev, and we've kind of gone over the point that why is Bhishma Dev speaking to Yudhisthira versus Krishna? Because Krishna wants to glorify Bhishma Dev by showing how his devotee is fully aware of his spiritual knowledge. So we're hearing Bhishma Dev being glorified, and the first kind of part of his section is how he welcomes everybody, and how even though he is on a bed of arrows and he can't do anything because of his Vaishnava culture, he's able to properly welcome all of the devotees who are appearing. And so there's this element of Vaishnava culture that they're able to properly bring and welcome and offer respects to each other. This is a proper Vaishnava culture that even in the state of, sickness or wherever we may be, the letter of the law is not the thing, it's rather the spirit of the law. So the spirit of the law is the mood behind it. You can follow all the letter, but if you don't have the proper mood in being a devotee, then that's not first class devotional service. Rather, the first class nature is the mood you do behind it. What is your mood behind it? And so we see this sometimes, Guru Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj often gives the example of, sometimes devotees want to make a big deal. Maybe neophyte type devotees, let me make a big deal. Good to see you, Haribol, in this way, it could be very fake actually. We want to make this big show because people want to have ego, so much ego, like look how many friends I have, look how hardy I am. Whereas actually we find that sometimes just very nice to see you is a far more heart-filled thing than all of this smoke and mirrors that people want to do. And so we see that in the material world. Oh, it's so wonderful to see you. But what is this? So we see that actually those devotees who really touch our heart, they're not doing this. Hare Krishna, very nice to see you. Now, it doesn't have to be that way, but the point is that the genuine heart of a Vaishnava is the real thing. What is the genuine heart of that devotee? That takes time to develop. It can't be imitated, really. Imitation just looks like more smoke and mirror. It actually takes time to develop that proper heart and how we deal with each other, which is also a sign of pure devotional service. So Bhishma Dev is on this level, undeniably. And so he worshipped them all properly. And then he spoke some about, he kind of gave them, he said, you've suffered so much. And he encourages them. My dear Pandava, my dear nephews, my dear grandsons, you've suffered. Let me encourage you. So when we're suffering, the Guru encourages us. Hopefully, ideally, he doesn't continue to make us suffer. He tries to encourage us. Let me encourage you that you're doing very nicely. Like we had one of my dearly beloved friends. She was not feeling very happy in her spiritual life, and so I said, I have one nice devotee you can speak with. And he basically told her, he said, wow, you're doing so nicely. You're chanting your rounds. You're doing so nicely. You'll go back to Godhead. You're following principles. You'll go back to Godhead. So we can think, when we get absorbed in that which is temporal, I need this and I want this and I need to get this and that. And, my life, we have total absorption in temporality. And all the stress comes. But we sometimes forget to realize that if we're devotees and we're actually, following nicely Krishna, then we will go back to Godhead. We'll go back to Godhead.
And so Krishna will give us mercy. Krishna is all about mercy. Aho bakiyam stana kala kutam jigham sayapaya yarapi sadvi lebe geti datu titam titonyam kamvadailim sharanam brajama. Krishna liberated even Putana. So we'll all, get this special mercy. So we should be joyful. There's 2 tracks. We have 2 tracks of dharma in this world. One of them is conditional. One of them is constitutional. We have our conditional dharma. Our conditional dharma is how we find ourselves, in what position we find ourselves in. I am grihastha, I am brahmachari, I am in temple, outside temple, this job, that job, student. So we all have a conditional dharma. We may be satisfied or unsatisfied with our conditional dharma. We may make so many attempts to change it, but ultimately we have some conditional dharma that has to be performed. We also have constitutional dharma. Constitutional dharma means, what is our constitutional dharma? It means to serve Krishna. That means we're chanting, we're doing service, we're going to the temple, we're associating with devotees, we're hearing Bhagavatam. And so it's our constitutional dharma that's going to ultimately benefit us. Of course, we don't want to neglect our conditional dharma. That's also a sinful reaction, which is going to affect our ability to perform devotional service. It's going to affect our happiness. So we have to do both nicely. But ultimately, we have to come to the point where we really only have our constitutional dharma. And we hear that, we hear that Krishnadas, Govindadas Kaviraji sings, my only desire is to engage in the 9 processes of bhakti. My only desire is to engage in these 9 processes of bhakti. That's my only desire. I don't really want anything else. I want to just Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. This is what I want. We have so many other desires, correct? I want this. I want to do that, but I want to do it in this position. So in this way, we have material desire. But ultimately, we have to transcend that. We have to decide, actually, let me just Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. So Bhishma Dev continues on. He starts speaking about all that's happened, like all this big horrible things that we're seeing in the world today, all these horrible things, correct? This is horrible. And sometimes in our own lives we feel this is horrible. I'm going through something horrible. I don't feel happy. I'm not satisfied with the way that things are going. I'm not getting what I want. And I don't know how I came to this position. And then what we should understand? He's saying this, he said, time is controlling everything just as the wind controls the clouds. And he says, no one can know the plan of Sri Krishna. No one knows Krishna's plan. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. We can try to understand Krishna's plan exhaustively, but even great philosophers aren't understanding Krishna's plan. That's for us, and that's for the world. But Krishna has a plan. We can't say, oh, this is a godless world. Krishna has a plan. This war, this problem I'm having, this problem that we're all maybe going through, whatever problem it may be, this is all part of Krishna's plan. And Krishna's our surat. It's very hard to accept sometimes. Krishna's our surat. He's wishing us well. And then he says, O best of the sense about it, I therefore ascertain that this is the Lord's inconceivable plan. So accept it and follow it. You should take care of helpless subjects as you are their master now. So the point here is that wherever we find ourselves, we should do it with enthusiasm. Let me just do what God has given me. He's given me service. Let me do it. Let me not be anxious to change my service. This is kind of an offensive mentality, no? Oh, I'm giving you service. I don't want this service. I want another service. You don't say that to your guru. You don't say that to Krishna. You accept, okay, this is what I've been given. Somehow or another, I've come to this position. Let me do it with enthusiasm. Not easy, but at the end, at the end, we get to go back to Godhead. Okay, so we're on text 18. Vishnu is about to glorify Krishna. Eshavai Bhagavan Shakshad Adyo Narayana Praman Moyam Mayaya Lokam Gudashtarati Vrishnishu. This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayan, the supreme enjoyer. But he is moving amongst the descendants of the king Vrishni, just like one of us. And he is bewildering us with his self-created energy. Yeah? Oh yeah, Mahajans. And we went through 19. We talked about the Mahajans. Out of ignorance, you thought about what? Yeah. Further understanding the interest of being. Yeah. Did we get to 23? 23 is nice. Let's go to 23. We'll start there. We're actually, I think we're on 25, the next section. Everyone stopped at the section mark. I just thought we stopped at the third section. Yeah, this is a nice verse. It says, the personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of devotee by attentive devotion meditation and by chanting the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage or fruitive activities at the time of quitting his material body. We did do that. That means we're actually at 25. So yeah, so then he gives this whole section. We'll continue the review. Krishna is the original person. All the personalities of Godhead are emanating from Krishna. And that by attentive chanting, we go back to Godhead. So it's not that, I am thinking so many things. I'm chanting japa sometime, or, no, actually, japa is the main thing, we do. It's our main business. If we don't do anything else, we just neglect that, then everything is pretty much lost. However, if we make that a goal, whatever else happens is good, because we made that our goal. So japa is very important. Our chanting is important. That means japa and kirtan. Kirtan shouldn't be neglected either. Kirtan should be done with full enthusiasm. Hearing, chanting, all with enthusiasm. How do we have enthusiasm? We become convinced that this is the important business. Prabhupada said once, he said, you can sleep 18 hours, and still you would sleep through kirtan, because you're not convinced that this is actually the most important thing you'll be doing. One time Ganganath was giving class, it was very heavy, It's actually all this is envy. So is all you are attentive to Bhagavatam, it's because you're envious of Krishna. I don't think I'm envious of Krishna. That's what he said. So we don't want to be envious. Yes, Prabhu.
Can you clarify what you were saying?
You're saying, we should just be fully attentive to this hearing process, basically. And that not being attentive to it is just craziness. It's actually, inattentive chanting is called, of all the offenses, its name is, in Sanskrit, we know, pramada. What does pramada mean? Madness. It's madness. And that's actually what it's called. It says their inattentive chanting is like madness. It's pramada. It's madness. It's crazy. Why would you, you have Krishna. Why would you not take it? This is Krishna himself. You're actually a crazy man. This is pramad. So all this goes with all the devotional service we perform. This is madness. So now to 25, Bhishma is about to give instruction to Yudhisthira. Sutu vacha Yudhistiras tat akarnya shayanam sarapanjare aprachad vividan dharman rishinam chanushrindvatam. Sridhar Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhisthira, after hearing Bhishma Dev speak in that appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all great rishis about the essential principles of various religious duties. The point Prabhupada's making is Bhishma Dev is speaking in that appealing tone, convinced Maharaj Yudhisthira that he was very soon passing away. And Maharaj Yudhisthira was inspired by Lord Krishna to ask him of the principles of religion. So then Krishna is making this point, Prabhupada is making this point here, that Bhishma Dev, although apparently living as a worldly man, is far superior to many great sages, even Vyasadeva. Another point is that Bhishma Dev at the time was not only lying on a deathbed of arrows, but was greatly aggrieved because of that state. One should not have asked him any question at that time, but Lord Sri Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind, by dint of spiritual enlightenment. And thus, in any circumstances, a devotee of the Lord is in perfect order to speak about the right way of life. I'm not a pure devotee, but I can understand that, even when I'm just totally jacked out of my mind, it's like Prabhu give a class, okay. So now Krishna gives me something to say. So when we're doing our service, we're empowered. We're not doing our service, no empowerment. We're just low. We have to inspire for service. How do we get service? The process of getting service. Chanting nicely. You can see devotees, they chant nicely, they get lots of seva. And their seva is effective too. Their preaching becomes very effective. This is the main thing. Okay, let's go to the next 26. Oh, here's some varnashram stuff. Purusha swabhava vita nyata varnam yatashramam vairagya rago paribhyam anatambaya lakshanan. At Maharaj Yudhishthira's inquiry, Bhishma Dev first defined all the classifications of caste and orders of life in terms of individuals' qualifications. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. A big purport.
Can you read that again?
Yeah, it's a little intense, huh?
I went too fast. Wasn't able to.
Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. So it says, at Maharaj Yudhishthira's inquiry, Bhishma Dev first defined all classifications of caste and orders of life in terms of the individual's qualifications. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. Prabhupada speaks about Varnashram Dharma, being civilized human being. He gives this nice thing here. Bhishma Dev, this is from the Mahabharata though. Self-realization is distinguished from the life of lower animals engaged in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. Bhishma Dev advises for all human beings 9 qualifications. Number 1, not to become angry. Number 2, not to lie. 2, to eat. 3, to equally distribute wealth. 4, to forgive. 5, to beget children only by one's legitimate wife. 6, to be pure in mind and hygienic in body. 7, not to be inimical toward anyone. 8, to be simple. And 9, to support servants or subservience. Very simple, nice instructions here from Bhishma Dev. So all these things they have, there's all exceptions to a sense. Of course, you become angry to offend devotees. Might be necessary to lie once in a while. Very shouldn't do it. Really, we should never lie if possible. Lying is so bad. I was thinking, I'm making this point out not to criticize Vaishnavas, but just saying that I've experienced that sometimes devotees don't take some basic moral instructions very seriously. Because we're always kids who grow up maybe in devotee families, not you, but kids who grow up in devotee families, sometimes I see, when I grew up in the kind of Christian world, it's all about don't lie, don't kill, don't steal, these things. Because that's the Christian values. But sometimes I think, we're just worship Krishna. And then sometimes you're kids are lying and stealing. It's we worship Krishna, we do kirtan, do not steal. Do not even stealing a little bit, not even just a little jar of ghee. Do not steal. You should only be very strict and not do these things. So we want to be, this is all very important. Honesty is important. One cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the above mentioned preliminary qualifications. Besides these, brahmanas, the intelligent men, the administrative men, the mercantile community, and the labor class must acquire special qualifications in terms of occupational duties mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. For the intelligent man, controlling the senses is most essential. Sex indulgence, even with a legitimate wife, must also be controlled, and thereby family control will automatically follow. An intelligent man abuses his great qualifications if he does not follow the Vedic way of life. Continuing on, speaks about the different, varnashram castes, sudras, talks about the ashrams. One who fails to assimilate the spirit of detachment is allowed to enter into family life with the same spirit of detachment. Therefore, one who attains detachment may at once adopt the 4th order, namely the renounced order, and thus live on charity, not to accumulate wealth, but just to keep body and soul together for ultimate realization. Household life is for one who is attached, and the vanaprastha and sannyas orders are for those who are detached from material life. Brahmacharya ashram is especially meant for training both the attached and the detached. So we should understand that detachment is completely necessary. It's completely necessary. It is not a extracurricular. It's necessary to become detached from sense gratification and from this elusive material energy. So we have to understand, like Guru Maharaj said once we were in Calcutta, and he was giving class to all these aspiring grihastas. And he started out the class very strong. Sex life is an illusion. You don't need it. You need to eat. You need to sleep. You need to defend yourself, but you do not need to mate. It's not necessary. It's Maya. It's illusion. You're just like, he's looking down, you know. And then Gurudev said, but if you can't do that, you know, craft ashram. And then he said nicely, he said, but, you know, like you're writing it's where he first, you know, this is kind of theme over the last year, but you're writing your own story. You know, like write your ending nicely. You know, the end goal is not becoming attached and, you know, dying like their Canto Bhagavatam, you know, with all family around and they are crying and you are crying and now you are being drugged by Yamadutas to Yamalok because you're attached. No. Rather, the end goal of life is to be fully attached to Krishna. So we write that goal. Krishna is all I want. Don't settle. We just have to understand, okay, we have so many temporary circumstances, conditional dharmas. But still at the end, Ante Narayana Smritihi. So what's the ultimate goal? If you have to be in the ashram, Etavan Sankhya Yoga Bhyam, Swadharma Paranishtayaha, Janma Labha Parapumsam, Ante Narayana Smritihi. Whether you do Sankhya, whether you do yoga, whether you do your Swadharma, okay, you want to be material, you have some Swadharma, whatever you do, Janma Labha Parapumsam, whatever you do in human society, in this human birth, Ante Narayana Smriti, the goal is to remember Narayan at the time of death. We have to remember Narayan at the time of death, which is not as easy as it may seem. Therefore, we have to ultimately focus on Krishna. And therefore, Sutta Goswami, right before that verse, he gives a very powerful instruction. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smarantavyascha Smartavyascha. Therefore, Tasmat Sarvatma Bharata. Therefore, O son of Bharat, in all circumstances, Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari, you should remember that Bhagavan Hari, who is the controller of everything, constantly Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha, hear about, chant about, Smarantavyascha, and remember Krishna constantly. That's our goal. That's our ultimate thing. So these Christians today, I was saying, you know, they're saying, well, you know, they come up one little section of life, they decide, oh, I'm in so much nonsense, and then I'm going to come talk to these religious people, and I'm going to show how religious advanced I am. Okay, you're doing so many things. We are doing everything for Krishna. We are doing everything for Krishna. You go to church on Sunday, we wake up every morning is Sunday. Every morning is Sunday. Every day is Sunday. We don't just say, oh, Sunday is day for God. Every day is day for God. So this way, what is the nothing? There's no benefit. It's just Kaitava Dharma. It's actually Kaitava Dharma. I have my church. Now, I'm not saying all Christians are in this boat, but I'm saying, oh, that mentality. And we could say that about the temple also. Our devotees, even when they just come to Sunday feast, or even just I come to the. You could be unconscious completely in everything you do. You can just wake up unconsciously, take a shower unconsciously, hear class unconsciously, go to the artik unconsciously, just like a zombie. And that's also, I mean, you're going to get benefit. You will get benefit, but still, it's not very much bhakti. You know, like when you're around advanced devotees, and what you find sometimes advanced devotees may not follow the program exactly because they were like, you know, you go to Mayapur, all the sannyasis, you don't ever see them in the temple. Practically, they're all doing their own thing. Sometimes you do the younger ones, they come to the temple in the morning. You know, like Shivaram Maharaj may come give a class twice a year. He's kind of doing his own thing. Was he not pure devotee? Well, no, he is. But he does everything very Krishna conscious. His consciousness, he's beyond advanced. So sometimes the advancement is in consciousness. So we have to become conscious. Then we can become Krishna conscious. But actually, real thing is consciousness and Krishna consciousness are the same thing. There's no difference. Because most of the day we're unconscious. We get in these unconscious loops. We're thinking about this, thinking about Maya sense gratification. Then we're thinking about Maya sense gratification. Then we're thinking, oh, Krishna may be here. And I'm chanting japa and then thinking of Maya sense gratification. then going to Artik, and I'm in Maya, sense gratification. Or I'm just in ignorance. Then now I'm worshiping my deities and thinking of Maya. Then I'm praying to God for Maya and sense gratification. And then I'm going to class and I don't want to hear about no Maya sense gratification. And I will go and do Maya sense gratification. I will go work for sense gratification, do Maya sense gratification. And it's time for sense gratification. So in this way, you can totally become unconscious in our even devotional service. We really have to understand there's an offering is bhakti, and improve where we're improve everything. Everything can be improved. We do that. Why do we do the same thing every day? To improve, yeah. It's measurable. I can improve. I mean, I can see how when I first started, I've been doing, I've been here for almost 8 years. And you can see how 7 years, almost 7 years. You can see how you're doing every day same thing. And every day same thing is getting better. Every day same thing is improving. Every day is getting better. So in this way, you improve. So where are we? How did that relate to the verse? I don't know. Let's go to 27. Dana dharmam raja dharmam moksha dharmam vibhagashaha stri dharmam bhagavad dharmam samasa vyasa yogataha. He then explained by divisions acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king, and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, excuse me, both briefly and extensively. So, it's a big purport. That's huge. Should read some of it though. It's good. Let's read it. It's nice. To give charity is one of the householder's main functions, and he should prepare to give charity at least 50% of his hard-earned money. A brahmachari or student should perform sacrifices. A householder should give charity, and a person in retired life or in renounced order should practice penances and austerities. Those are the general functions of all the ashrams or orders of life on the path of self-realization. In brahmachari life, the training is sufficiently imparted so that one may understand that the world as property belongs to the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. No one, therefore, can claim to be the proprietor of anything in the world. Therefore, in the householder life, which is a sort of license for sex enjoyment, one must give in charity for the service of the Lord. Newsflash, there's no enjoyment. Everyone's energy is generated. Sense gratification is a misnomer. The senses are never gratified. That's what I told. I said, sense gratification. There is no such thing as sense gratification, Prabhu. It's a misnomer. The senses can never be gratified. They're monsters. Really. Everyone's energy is generated or borrowed from the reservoir of energy of the Lord. Therefore, the resultant actions of such energy must be given to the Lord in the shape of transcendental loving service for Him. As the rivers draw water from the sea through the clouds and again go down to the sea, similarly, our energy is borrowed from the supreme source, the Lord's energy, and it must return to the Lord. That is the perfection of our energy. The Lord, therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 9:27 says that whatever we do, whatever we undergo as penance, whatever sacrifice, whatever we eat, whatever we give in charity must be offered to Him. That is the way of utilizing our borrowed energy. When our energy is utilized in that way, our energy is purified from the contamination of material liberties. This will become fit for our original natural life of service to the Lord. So here's the point here, that whatever we do, we can offer to Krishna. We can offer whatever we do to Krishna, and then it becomes purified. Better we do it under the direction of the Guru. That's the real way to do it. And it becomes full bhakti. But anyways, if we live nicely in Krishna consciousness, it's all perfect. Perfection. Raja Dharma is a great science, unlike modern diplomacy for political supremacy. The kings were trained systematically to become munificent and not merely be tax collectors. Going on. I want to talk a little about going on. Oh, big purport. As far as the woman class are concerned, they are accepted as power of inspiration for men. As such, women are more powerful than men. Mighty Julius Caesar was controlled by a Cleopatra. Such powerful women are controlled by shyness. Therefore, shyness is important for women. Once this control valve is loosened, women can create havoc in society by adultery. Adultery means production of unwanted children, known as Varna Sankara, who disturb the world. Prabhupada's making this point that the shyness is a very powerful quality for women. That's important, to be shy. Humble and shy. And inspiration. Men need inspiration because they're not fully integrated into their animus. So this is psychologically. The woman, they project to women this beauty, and then I feel inspired, and now I can be very happy and joyful. But in time, we find that sometimes they lose inspiration from that. So we should be inspired by Krishna, actually, mainly. But it's a type of, what's our fuel? We got to put fuel in our car. We want to get first class fuel, second class fuel, third class fuel. First class fuel is I'm fueled by love for God. Low class fuel is I'm fueled by lust. It's like Ravana, fueled by lust. Or I'm fueled by power, like Hiranyakashipu. Fueled by fear, like Kamsa. So what kind of fuel are we putting in our car? Why are we doing what we're doing? Ask ourselves that. What is my motive here? I'm just fueled by survival. I just want to eat and sleep. And if I'm lucky, maybe I'll get some sex. And everything is very nice. Yes, bro.
I saw this little clip by Amen, and he makes a similar point. It says through our different actions, we should always question why, and then to that answer, question why to that answer, and it should all go all the way back to Krishna at some point, at least. Otherwise, where does it lead to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and usually for devotees, it's very much Krishna. Even if it's like, oh, I'm in sense gratification, I'm doing something that seems like Maya. Ultimately, we're trying to get Krishna. I mean, then I would think like, I can't avoid this anartha. I can't just like, I have to actually work through it. Okay, still, if I had the opportunity right now, right here, Krishna said, here, it's gone. You take it. Got a second. So devotees, they're going to get Krishna. Ultimately, it's Krishna for devotees. And that's not some devotees, most devotees who are sincere. So we know we want Krishna. That's okay. So in this way, actually, there's no such thing as material life for devotees. Everything's spiritual. So we see that sometimes devotees say, my family is material. I go to temple and do seva, that is spiritual. This is Maya. That's big wrong consciousness. My family is also spiritual. Everything is seva. That's the proper understanding. And if we make all these distinctions, this is just ultimately Maya too. It's ultimately Maya to make so many distinctions. Oh, this is my material life. Now, I mean, at the same time, devotees also realize that there's a temporal nature to temporal things, and there's an eternal nature to eternal things. We have temporal sevas and we have eternal sevas. We're actually trying to cultivate our eternal seva, which is cultivated in here at the higher stages. And how do we, get that? We get that by, attentive hearing, attentive chanting, attentive devotional practices, which are greatly hampered by certain circumstances, and therefore they're discouraged generally by, sages and saints. Okay, why is it that certain activities are discouraged? Because they're going to be hindrances to our hearing and chanting. Because now I'm thinking of other things when I could be just simply hearing and chanting, serving Krishna. So the more, that's the ultimate understanding. At the end of life, we want to be fully absorbed, hearing and chanting. So still, if we can't do that, we make everything seva. And if we're with devotees, families are devotees, then there's always hearing and chanting going on nicely. Okay, man, we're at my favorite part. I hope we can get there. Oh, dharmata kama mokshamscha sahopayam yata mune nanakyane titeyeshu vanayam asatat vavit. Then he described the occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, for he was himself well acquainted with the truth. So yeah, we'll go to 29. Dharmam pravadatastasya sakala prayupashtita yo yoginash chadra mrityor vanchitas tatarayana. When Bhishma Dev was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who die at their will. Some people say Bhishma died during Bhishma Panchak, but actually he died on the day, a very auspicious day where you give a lot of charity. Makarsham. Yeah. What's it called? Say it loudly. Say it loudly, what you just said. Yeah, he died on that day. So I've heard. Focus on Krishna. 30. Tado pashamritya gira sahasranir vimukta sangam mana adi purushe Krishne lasat pita pate chaturbuje purastite milita drigvyadarayat. Thereupon, that man who spoke on different, my favorite verse. This is one of my favorite verses in the whole Bhagavatam. I'm going to read it again. Sorry. Such an amazing verse. Tado Pushama Rityagira Sasrasnir Vimukta Sangam Mara Adi Purushe Krishne Lashat Pita Pate Chaturbuje Purastite Milita Drigvyadarayat. Thereupon that man who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings and who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men stopped speaking and being completely freed from all bandage withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who stood before him, four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. That is an epic verse. In the momentous hour of leaving his material body, Bhishma Dev set the glorious example of concerning the important function of the human form of life. The subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. Therefore, if one is absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, he is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. And whoever at the time of death quits his body or marry me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Ante Narayana, how's the verse go? You know that verse? 5? Hard one to remember, I always forget it. Prabhupada just quoting Bhagavad Gita verses here. We'll keep going. Yeah. Ante kalacham mamevam smaram mutuklevar yapriyati samabhavam yanti yashna shamshaya. Well, we're just going to go to 31. Yeah, this is the last one we'll do today. Because we're next section. Next section is one of my favorite sections, so I don't want to start it and not finish it. Vishuddhaya dharanai dharanai hata subas tarik shayova shugata yadushamaha niritta sarvendriya vritti vibramas tushtavajanyam rishajan janardanam. By pure meditation, looking at Lord Sri Krishna, he once was freed from all material inauspiciousness and was relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus, all external activities of his senses at once stopped, and he prayed transcendently to the controller of all living beings while quitting his material body. So, thing is we want to end our body like Bhishma. That's that's the point. This whole part of the Bhagavatam, this section, is to show how do we want to leave our body. We want to leave our body like Bhishma. And Bhishma was just incredible devotee. He was, of course, Nishtik Brahmachari, and he just was completely fixed on Krishna, but he did so many activities. He never let Krishna go. Even he fought against Krishna. And so we want to leave our body like Bhishma. That's the goal. Let us have a glorious death. And we see the devotees, the really amazing devotees. Bhajanarayan Swami just left his body in such a glorious way. Kadamakana Swami left his body in a glorious way. Gopal Krishna Maharaj was just glorious all the way. Every second was glorious. And Bhaktitirtha Swami spoke kind of extensively about this before he left his body, about how we want to go out like Bhishma. So how do we go out like Bhishma? What's the way? Practice. But it really means making all those choices nicely, making all those choices nicely. And it isn't easy. It's actually a struggle. It's actually a struggle. We have to toil to come to that higher state of consciousness. And I don't know, in my experience, I think, what keeps me through is sometimes I think, okay, like, just give this one life to Krishna. Give this one life to Krishna. You accept the philosophy, I've given so many lives to Maya. Let me really devote this life to Krishna. Let me really make this Krishna's life. And that means every second, every choice, we have to make that choice. How do I surrender here? And it means doing hard choices, giving up things we don't want to give up. That's what it means. We're giving up things we don't want to give up, making hard choices. And remaining fixed in our devotional service strongly, without a doubt, determined, with that end in mind. We said in the class on Tuesday, determination means there's an end. What is my end? How am I going to finish this book? Gurudev on Saturday said, save the last dance for me. I was thinking about that. So that was so sweet. That was such a sweet class. Save the last dance for me. That Krishna's, we may go here, we may go there, but let us save the last dance for Krishna. Let us make Krishna that last and final, he's our final romance, our final thing. That he's the ultimate lover, the ultimate friend, the ultimate well-wisher. He's our surat. And we just want to be with him. And that's our, inspiration. That's what keeps us going. So we want to live like that. And Bhishma Dev also found himself in such horrible circumstances. No, he was actually being killed by like thousands of arrows and lying on a bed of arrows. And so this is, not pleasant situation. We also sometimes may feel like I'm being stabbed by arrows. The material energy is just cutting me so deeply right now. I feel that way actually on a regular basis now. Seemingly my life is becoming, I'm having a lot of suffering recently. And so it's like, okay, this is for Krishna. This is for Krishna. So let us just think, I would love to leave my body for Krishna. I want to end this. Like Prabhu was saying to me in the car, like, it's Krishna's mercy that we suffer. Because sometimes we see devotees, they're enjoying and they're like going, I say like, if I even think about material enjoyment, I start suffering really badly, like extremely bad. I see some devotees, they're just like, yeah, I have a plan. I'm going to get some material enjoyment. And they're just not suffering. I'm like, why? Krishna's being merciful to me. As Prabhu say, well, Krishna's being merciful to you. He's letting you know how much this is horrible. This is not pleasant. So, Krishna is kind to the devotees. He lets us know how, this world is like that. Let's give it up. So, yeah, let us conquer Krishna, like Bhishma Dev conquered Krishna. Krishna came to Bhishma at the time of death. We can also conquer Krishna by conquering first our senses. We say actually Maharaj means because you conquer your senses. Senses are very difficult to conquer. So we conquer our senses. We conquer our mind. We conquer everything in the path that leads us to Krishna. And we make that effort to do something for Krishna with that energy. And then we go back home, back to Godhead. Okay. Muna is leaving, so we will also leave. That is it. Srimad Bhagavatam ki